welcome to Killing Time. I am Ayaz Akhtar, otherwise known as IA. Back when we started this podcast about 1 billion years ago, we didn't know if we wanted our names attached to this.
Exactly, and I was JB at that point.
Because he was just Bob, otherwise known as the Florida Gator, the Beelzebub, like we said last week, Maleficent as well, for some reason. Today,
Awesome.
It's just Bob, otherwise known as... We never tell you his name on this show, actually, so you can't find him, although he's tagged from the site, so it's Rob.
Yeah, they can find me.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, how goes it?
Good. So this is the show where we search for entertainment that doesn't suck, and thankfully you have an actual topic today because
I do.
Otherwise, I'm going to have book reviews, and I'm not even kidding because I've been reading. So you were talking about sitting down and watching something.
Well, this is going to actually be a departure anyway because it's not the type of movie we usually talk about. So I was watching the Golden Globes last week, and if people know what happened, La La Land won a bunch of awards, and so I thought, okay, I got to see this movie. What's the deal? When I started reading about it, I found out it was written and directed by the same guy that did Whiplash, the movie with J.K. Simmons and Miles Teller, where he's the
drummer?
drumming kid. Yeah, Great movie. I loved every minute of it. So I thought, okay, I'm not usually a musical guy, but I'll give this thing a chance. So I went and saw it, and I was actually pleasantly surprised. I left the movie thinking it was much better than I thought it would be, and even a couple days later, I'm still kind of thinking about the movie and why I ended up liking it when I didn't think I was going to.
All right, for people like me who's only seen the movie poster, I'm looking at the wrong camera. This is the camera, sorry guys. I've only seen the movie poster. I know it's a musical. I think it's Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, I want to say.
Ryan Gosling, right.
That's all I know about this. So what is the plot of La La Land?
Well, the plot of La La Land is pretty much following their relationship. He's an aspiring jazz pianist. She's an aspiring actress in L.A., and they're both, trying to make it in a tough business while starting a relationship together. So that's pretty much the basis of the story. But what I found interesting, so it's shot kind of like in a throwback movie, kind of like a Singing in the Rain type thing. Mm-hmm. And it does have kind of the singing and the dancing cheesiness that you'd see in a musical. But somehow he wrote it in a way that he also included a little grit and a little real life drama of living in LA and dealing with the crap that these people have to deal with. Which I think was what surprised me, because a musical you think is all la la happy, everything go lucky, basic tone and thing, but it didn't really follow that completely.
Okay, I could see that. I mean, I've seen, I guess, gritty musicals, as in like Miss Saigon is in a war.
Right.
What's the other one? Rent, which is in New York.
Right. It definitely has more feel like that. But what I really liked was, like in the tone of Rent and things like that, it doesn't end happy, but he finds a way to make it not end sad. So, spoiler alert, they don't end up together at the end, but he does it in a way that it feels like real life. That's how this relationship would actually end up, because people end up putting their careers and their dreams ahead of relationships sometimes, which is unlike a lot of these, usual movie musical type things.
That's a brave choice to do that kind of ending where you don't have the happy ending, or not. You said it wasn't a sad ending, which makes
it wasn't a sad ending. What I liked was, let me. It's a great scene, so let me walk you through it. So it's 5 years after their relationship. We see a scene where they're parting ways. He's going off to do his thing. She's going off to try and start a career. 5 years later, she's this huge movie star, and she stumbles in with her husband to this jazz bar that ends up being his jazz bar. He sees her and he starts playing a song, and while he's playing a song, we get this flashback to what could have been, their life together, what could have been if they actually stayed together. We don't know if it's him thinking about it, her thinking about it, or both of them while he's playing this song. So they shoot through it, and you see what their life could have been, ending in a scene with him and her at this jazz club instead of her and her husband. And then it just ends with them sharing a smile as she walks out, and you feel like, okay, that's life. She went and did her thing, he went and did his, and they didn't end up together.
Okay, so as you are aware, and if you've been following the show for the 11 years we've been doing this, I'm not the biggest fan of musicals. Killing
what JB was saying, these musicals, right? I have trouble getting 5 people to go to a movie theater together. They want me to believe in the realism. 5 to 15 different people are singing and dancing in one motion. Right. Now, the realism in musicals are pretty much gone. The only one where it makes sense, maybe Rent. The weird thing about Rent, though, they're complaining they don't have money for the rent. They all sing great. They should sing for money.
A long time ago, anyway. My biggest problem is the lack of realism. But at this point, we've been doing this for a long time. I've actually gotten a hell of a lot older. I can kind of respect the art form because, again, if I can buy a Spider-Man, I can buy that these people, for some reason, are expressing themselves in the form of music. How did the songs play into the actual movie? Did they seem natural? Did they seem out of place? How does that work in the actual film?
Some of them seemed really natural because it's obviously he's a jazz pianist and, sitting down, playing his piano, singing a song. She's an actress, so, she's, auditioning for parts and things like that. So some of them play into it. But there's definitely, some of the cheesy musicals where everybody likes where they're starting to fall in love and they sing and dance together kind of thing. But I'd say about half of them felt fluid into the movie and then half of them felt like old school musical. We just start breaking into song and dance.
Okay, so you think I should actually watch this? I mean, if it's got all this critical acclaim, that's one of the things that makes me kind of hedge on something. Because, if everyone says it's great, is it great?
The thing is, from the point of view of just, movie making and how this guy tries to do things differently, I think it's worth watching. I don't think you should run out and think you're going to like it as the best movie you've ever seen, but I think it'll surprise you. Something about it sticks with you, and I can't really explain it. But other critics have said the same thing.
I guess my last question about the film is this a movie that you should see in a theater, or could you watch this at home without an issue?
No, I think you could watch it at home without an issue. Like I said, a lot of it, it's got a lot of vibrant colors and things, but it doesn't have huge numbers with tons of people running around or huge visuals. You could easily watch it on, a TV and get the same feel from it. Yeah, maybe even a better feel than you would at the movie theater.
That's been one of my judging points. Like, do I have to go into the theater? Do I have to watch this when it's out?
No, but I definitely think when this thing comes out, on DVD, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, it's definitely worth a watch. Have
you established any drinking games with this movie?
Oh, it's a musical. You could always do drinking games. Somebody starts dancing for no reason, you drink. Well, somebody goes from speech directly into song, you drink.
Well, I meant more La La Land specific. Is there anything about it that you're like, what? Every time they say darling or whatever, I'm not sure what exactly the language is in this, you're like, they do say that word an awful lot. Or is there anything that you think that in this film has particular that would cause somebody...
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I've only seen it once. I'm sure if I watched it again, I'd notice more of that stuff.
Yes, and that's a preview of our other show that's coming, Hush Hush, soon. So that's going to be fun, and that's actually, I'm trying to set it up either March or April. I'll be over. We're going to shoot at least 2 episodes of what we're talking about, and if you don't know what we're talking about, it's good, because I haven't told anybody outside of Rob, so...
Excellent.
There we go. And you'll find out when it actually happens. I don't like to say, hey, we've got these great plans, all this stuff's going to happen. I like you to go, hey, we released this thing. Here it is.
Exactly.
It's the Osmandius approach. I'm not going to tell
you. I like it.
All right. So I did not watch anything brand new other than last night, though. I did watch Princess Mononoke for the first time.
Okay.
Which is a Japanese classic. It's not really that classic. 92.
Yeah.
No, 97, excuse me.
And, but it's considered a classic.
Yeah. Liz is
in the genre.
She's a big fan of this guy, and I'm like, oh, his name is like Miyazaki. And I've noticed it because my name is in his name. I've known about this guy for a while. So even though... Have you seen this film?
No, I haven't. I've heard of it.
All right, so it's called Princess Mononoke, but she's in the movie like Godzilla's in Godzilla. Like, the main character is this anime kid, who looks just like my son, which is very odd. If my kid was going to be an anime kid, or a character, he was this character, Ashitari or Ashitaki or something. So, excuse me, guys, who are big fans. I only watched it last night, and it was a good movie. It's really strange, and... I think it's definitely better than Porco Rosso, which I watched as well fairly recently, another Miyazaki film, I think, which is about 1930s warplanes and a man who is turned into a pig. Now, the fun part about this man turning into a pig thing, they just tell you flat out, like, he's been cursed. Like, it's just like a one-line thing, and it's all humans, and he's just it, and there's no further explanation. And otherwise, it's just a war movie. And... these are way out there. So when Liz was a kid, apparently she really liked this stuff, and then we watched it. So back to Princess Mononoke. Here's my beef with this movie. So kids, if you're at home and you're watching this and you're like, oh no, you're not going to talk smack about this movie. I'm going to talk a little smack about this movie. Here's why. Immediately after the film ended, because we had it on Blu-ray, it was the special features started going. And they had the voice actors. It was Claire Danes, young Claire Danes. This is the late 90s. And it's Billy Bob Thornton. And like you got these people there. And they're deriding cartoon work and voiceover work like, oh, it's a cartoon, it's kid stuff, and it's a little different than that, and I immediately get turned off by this because, when I watch films, I like to think that the actors are kind of into it. It seemed like these guys were like, They
just want a paycheck.
It seemed that way. Claire Danes did a really good performance, and Billy Bob Thornton did. They were all good performances, but it was kind of off-putting to see the voice actors kind of go,
Yeah.
I needed a deck on my house or something.
Yeah.
Not the biggest fan of that, because if you watch any of the Batman animated series stuff and you see Kevin Conroy or Mark Hamill talk about their roles,
they love it.
They're excited.
They love what they do, yeah.
Or John DiMaggio, who's Bender on Futurama, or you watch Robert Paulson, who's the voice of Yakko on lots of different things. I think he also was Raphael on the Ninja Turtles. Like, these guys love acting with their voice, and they are enjoying it. But then, because Disney got these high-level celebrities, or stars, so to speak, they were kind of like, well, okay. Think of Glenn Close in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, she did a good performance, but seriously, she really is the wrong person for the role. Like, she
didn't need to be there. Yeah, it could have been somebody else.
She looked so freaking bored, and she could have been so much better, and that's a whole other side. So that's my little anime corner right now, because I'm watching some of this stuff. I think tonight I'm finally going to watch Creed, which I haven't watched.
Good movie. I liked it.
I heard it's really good.
I liked it a lot. It was, you'll like it, I think.
I couldn't watch it with Liz because she hadn't seen Rocky, like any of them. So I'm like, we have to watch Rocky.
No, it would be lost on her. It means so much more when you're already attached to the character of Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, so I don't know whether we should watch Rocky 2, Rocky 3, and then go to Creed, or just go from Rocky to
You gotta watch. Actually, you gotta watch because it's it's Apollo's son.
Yeah.
You need more of that storyline where they become friends. In 3, they become friends. You need at least 1 in 3, I think.
I don't.
Well, but then in 4 is when spoiler if no one's seen it, he dies.
30 years.
But
in one of the strangest arenas ever, guys. Hopefully I have a picture of this up now, guys. If you're looking at this, when Drago is taking on Creed, he's at some kind of theater. The ring is on a stage. The seats are in the theater. You can only see one part of the ring from where you're seated. You can't. It's not actually like around the boxing ring.
And we have James Brown doing his performance to start up.
Actual James Brown.
Actual James Brown doing "Living in America."
Yeah. So it's way out there. Anyway, so let's throw that out. New stuff. Okay, I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks. Do you subscribe to Scribed or any like all you
Audible?
So Audible. I'm not the biggest fan of Audible because you get like one book or whatever it is.
With me it's because I like a lot of sci-fi fantasy stuff, and there's usually a good selection on there, and I'm usually only reading one book at a time anyway, so it works out for me.
Yeah, I juggle. Like Scribed gives you lots of different options, and this is not a paid commercial. I use the service. I like it. It gives you sheet music. This is the oddest one. I don't use that. They have comic books from Marvel, DC, and lots of other places. Not like full selections, but something. Regular ebooks and audiobooks. So normally within a month, I'm listening to an audiobook and reading another book, like an actual ebook. So it's just.
So what's the cost to Scribe? Because I know I've seen some stuff online that looks like I'd want to use it.
It's $8.99 a month. And I tried it for free for a while, and I kind of liked it. And so I've been listening to a lot of books. And one of the books I was reading, and it's a super long title, so here we go. It's called 10% Happier, How I Tamed the Voice in My Head, Reduced Stress Without Losing My Edge, and found a self-help that actually works, a true story by Dan Harris. And I'm like, okay, this title sounds crazy, first of all. So I hit 10% Happier. And Dan Harris is an anchor for Good Morning America and also does Nightline. He does a lot of ABC stuff. And what happened to this guy is he had a panic attack live on air.
Oh.
Okay? He had 5 points to run down, and he got to 3 of them and completely was panicking. Threw it back to the anchors at the desk, because he wasn't an anchor just yet, he was a correspondent. And he called them by the original scripted name, but that person was subbed out. I think it was supposed to be like Robin, somebody was supposed to be there, but Diane Sawyer was there. But he just said Robin anyway. Completely panics, breaks down due to like just pushing himself crazily into his field. Now, as you guys know, I like doing video work, and so I like reading about television stuff too. So this has a bit of insidery stuff when it comes to working the news division, working for Peter Jennings, what that was like, and all these other kinds of moving parts. But this guy had a serious drug problem, was not sleeping, was consistently just career-minded, focus. All the only thing he did was his career. But then he had this panic attack, and he's like, I got to fix this. And he goes through this series of, he goes to retreats, he's heard meditation, he thinks it's hokey, he thinks it's stupid, it's not going to work. But he does find that it does help. And people are asking, like, how much happier does it make you? And he's like, if I had to give you a number, and that's where the title comes from, it's like, it can make you like 10% happier. I'm not going to say it's going to change your life, but maybe like 10% better. And which I actually think is a nice way to put it. 'Cause a lot of this stuff, I work on this idea of not being insane these days.
Uh-huh.
And the 10% happier concept, I've been meditating already anyway. But to hear somebody else go through it, and then also, because he does mainstream news and he's dealing with mainstream kinds of people, to tell people he's meditating, they think he's a whack job, at first.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff that goes on. But it's actually read by Dan Harris. It's a 4-hour book. It feels at times longer, probably because of my commute. I have a very short commute. But it's a really good book. I highly recommend it. It's super short. If you get the book itself, like 250 pages, so you can probably read it like in a day or two really easily. It's the author is completely what's the word? He's forthcoming. He tells you like it is, and all the stupid stuff he did in the past, and what worked for him. So if you like to hear about like a television memoir thing, it's kind of cool that way. If you're looking for some kind of way to think about meditation in a different way, it's also good that way. If you're just interested in the concept of it, it's a fun book. At times there is one chapter I think particularly drags. That's the next to last chapter, I think chapter 11, because it's like a 40-minute chapter, which to me mentally was a huge block. But otherwise, it's a really good book. So if you're looking for a book to read, suggest that.
Good. Sounds interesting.
And I've also been listening to Metallica's album from November, like nonstop. So
a great album. It's one of the best ones they've had since pretty much the 90s. So
yeah, that's Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Came out November 18th. Actually, it was the album that actually got me to pick up a guitar again. I'm like, oh yeah, right. I used to be able to play this stuff. I want to play it again because it's got such great guitar riffs.
Yeah,
so I'm excited about that. And I'm only a big fan of 2 of the songs, but I'm going to keep listening to them more because they usually grow on me over time. But it also made me rediscover the Black Album, which you don't need to really do, but when you start doing that, you're stuck. Like you're listening to the Black Album the whole time.
Wow,
like,
this was awesome.
You're like, this is all on one album. Like this is amazing. So
yeah.
And I use Google Play Music for that. They're also not paying us, so I think that's pretty much anything. We got anything else we want to throw at these people for entertainment? They got a book to read. They got a musical to watch.
No, I think we've done enough.
Okay, we've done enough for you fine folks. But thank you guys for supporting us on Patreon and everything else. You go to patreon.com/IAS. You can give us some money. We can keep doing the show. We're going to start a new show soon. That's going to be crazy. And you'll be like, why are you doing this to yourselves? And we're like, I don't know. Just because the URL was available. And then all hell broke loose.
Yeah, it just worked out that way.
And if you want to know what we're talking about, maybe I'll even explain it on the Patreon page because we have that and occasionally I update it. So that does it for us. You can find episodes of KillingTime.tv, like and subscribe, all that stuff. And we'll see everybody next time.